Hello, rugby fans. I'm Brendan Monroe, and you're watching the semifinals of the Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League here from University of British Columbia in Vancouver, BC. On your left are the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds. In blue and in yellow are the University of Victoria Vikes. Winner moves on to play for the Roundsfell Cup next Saturday, April 30th. UBC on the attack in the very early goings. That's the fullback Andrew Coe leading the way for the Thunderbirds. We'll go through the starting lineups in just a couple minutes. Now charging forward is James Thompson wearing number 12. The center Jordan Sandover Best, the scrum half in there looking for the ball. He'll deliver it out to Brock Stoller wearing 14. UBC already on the front foot inside the 22. That's Chris Taylor, the big tight head prop, taking his shot at the defense. Now into Connor Weil, who is a late addition into the game, replacing Sam Clark. In the opening roster, and right at the line, rebuffed was James Thompson. Now they'll try it one more time out on the left-hand side. Spinning into the corners, Connor Weil, and he will have the game's first try. Just 2 minutes into this one, and the UBC Thunderbirds are already up by a score of 5-0. And while we wait for the conversion attempt, we will go through the full starting lineups for both teams. Brock Stoller with the ball there, wearing number 14 for UBC, and he will be doing the kicking. His teammates, number 1 Chris Taylor, Alex Mascott, the hooker, and Neil Courtney, the other prop on the loose head side. Connor Weil, check that tight head side. Connor Weil wearing 4, scoring the try. Mike O'Toole wearing 5. Nakai Penny 6, and Charlie Thorpe 7. Who's your captain are the flankers. Connor Hamilton wears number 8. Jordan Sandover Best is your scrum half. Theo Sauter is your fly half. Brock Stoller, kick is up. Lots of hang time. It's going to go right and wide, so it stays 5-0 for UBC. James Thompson and Ben Lesage are your centers. Manar Kolkan wearing number 11 out on the wing, and Andrew Coe wearing 15 for UBC. For the UVic Vikes in the front row, Casey Reed, Sawyer Heron, and Keelan Chapman round out the front row. The locks are Liam Chisholm and Kevin Leask. Jeff Nishima Miller and Nathan Stewart are your flankers. Behind me, Williamson, who's affectionately known as Grandpa by his teammates, the veteran student there, wearing number 8. James Pipledo, the scrum half at 9, picking up the ball just now. Morgan Tate is the fly half. Isaac Kay and Crosby Stewart are your wingers. Joe Ehrlich and John Lorimer are your centers, and Kapi Vadaiki is your fullback. Right on halfway, the UVic Vikes. Chisholm going up for that high ball. A bit of a drop, unforced error in the backfield there by Joe Ehrlich. And the UVic Vikes can ill afford any early mistakes. They already have 5 points against them on the scoreboard. Their season in the Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League started a bit slower than they would have liked. It started with a loss in January here against UBC. And after a tour to Australia, several more L's in the win-loss column. But finally righting the ship late in the season, picking up an important win in the quarterfinal last weekend against Ravens. They were down 17-0 in that one before the opening 20 minutes of that game had concluded. So a similar quick score by their opponents this week, and we'll see how the UVic Vikes respond. Sandover Best feeds the scrum. And Andrew Coe over to Kolkan, and he's got lots of space. Shedding tacklers and brought down just shy of the line was Manar Kolkan. Now over to Chris Taylor taking on the defense solo. finally getting some support, but just one more meter to go here for UBC. Trying to duck under a tackle was Andrew Coe. And the Canada under-20 star has UBC's second try of the opening minutes. And UVic need to settle down before this game gets out of hand, as we are only 6 minutes in and it's already 10-0 in favor of UBC. That play set up by a brilliant run from Manar Kulkan, who was trained in the United Rugby Club environment out in the Coquitlam area, Tri-Cities area, and certainly making people take notice here at the University of British Columbia of his play. And I'm certain that he'll be on the BC Bears radar, as BC Bears head coach Gabriel Fulcher in the crowd today, just looking at some of these players, hopeful of playing for their province later on this summer at the Canadian Rugby Championship. The players, however, full focus on the game at hand. Brock Stoller's kick has a better angle this time, and the flags go up. 2 more points for the UBC Thunderbirds, who quickly jump out to this 12-0 lead. We will check the out-of-town scoreboard throughout the day for you as we get scores from other games. Of course, the other men's semifinal happening right now features James Bay at Burnaby Lake. They were down to the last couple of minutes of the first match, also between those same 2 teams, as we kicked off here with James Bay holding a narrow lead at the time of kickoff here. UVic earning their first penalty at a distance of about 45 meters away from the uprights, which Pitblado decides to hoist into touch. And they will have a line out just outside that 22-meter line. No Giuseppe Dutoy in the lineup for the UVic Vikes today. They would certainly miss his presence with the boot, as that last penalty probably would have been within his range. So instead, with his absence from the lineup, they will have to go to the set piece instead, where Jamie Williamson is tasked with carrying that one into the tackle line. Now over to John Lorimer. Intercept ball, but from an offside position probably. And that is indeed the call from our referee, Sarah Turner. And right from the 22-meter line, this is a great option for UVic if they want to punch it into the corner or go for post. And Pitblado says we are going to take the points, handing the ball over to Morgan Tate, as we'll wait for a kicking tee to be ushered out to him. A bit of an angle, as he's about 20 meters infield from this touch line, so not straight away from the uprights, but it's still a fairly straightforward chip shot for him at this 22-meter distance. The conditions here today at the University of British Columbia, just a slight bit of wind coming in from the right to the left as you see the playing field. It was overcast earlier today. The skies look to be clearing just a little bit. The wind not interfering with that kick at all as it sails through the uprights, clean and true. 3 points, and UVic are now on the board. And a very important score for them just to get themselves established in this game, get their account open, and stop this one-sided tide of offense coming from the UBC Thunderbirds, as we are now just about 10 minutes into this game. And UVic able to get some points on their very first consistent possession of the match. The UBC Thunderbirds, known as a very high-scoring team, almost able to score points at will throughout their Canadian Direct Premier League season. They have won every match that they have been involved in this campaign, and we have to go all the way back to the spring of 2015 to find their last defeat. UVic tested them on a few occasions since then, but UBC always able to find the upper hand in the end, and will be looking to do the same again. Alex Mascot taking that one into the tackle. Big break coming here as Lesage gets his first hands on the ball of the day and makes good use of it with a very nice run inside the UVic 22. Very quickly met in defense there as Chisholm got in a tackle, and now a big crunching hit coming in from Jaime Williamson. That ball was out, and it's well played over to Neil Courtney, who thought he spotted a gap, but the UVic defense quick to react. Vikes defense missing the presence of Luke Bradley, their big number 8, who is currently on duty with Rugby Canada on the sevens circuit. UBC able to punch one into the corner. By the look of it, it's going to be looked at by the referee and by the touch judge. But a very quick developing play there from UBC. It's ruled, however, that it was knocked on right at the line. So a fortuitous break for the UVic Vikes, as some desperation tackling has led to that knock on in the corner, as the Thunderbirds continue to ratchet up the pressure on the Vikes defense. That ball is kicked clear, but not as far upfield as they would have liked, as it's going to be a line out just inside the 22. I'm checking the out-of-town scoreboard just to update everyone. In the first, the Library Square Cup, James Bay has taken the win over Burnaby Lake in their semifinal by a score of 15-10. They will take on Capilano, who defeated the UBC Braves by a score of 22-7 earlier today. So that is your Library Square Cup final. Capilano against James Bay. And the James Bay Premier team are looking to book their berth in the final as well. They're taking on Burnaby Lake. At present, no score yet out of that one. Also on the out-of-town scoreboard, West Shore RFC picking up a 7-3 win over Britt Lions in men's 3rd division action. And Surrey Beavers taking a 32-8 win over Cowichan in the men's 1st division. Our score here, 12-3 in favor of the UBC Thunderbirds. And still on the attack is James Thompson for the UBC Thunderbirds as they look to build on this early lead, but knock-ons once again denying them points, as we saw a knock-on just 2 minutes ago denying a try, and this one slowing down a good offensive attack from the Thunderbirds. The Vikes have spent most of the opening 15 minutes of this game inside their own 22, and they will need to organize themselves quickly and effectively if they want to hoist themselves back into this game. Just the 3 points to show so far, although they're consistently earning penalties, which is a good sign for them, and spotting a bit of a gap there upfield was their fullback, and a kick into touch will bring the ball right around midway, just inside the UVic's side of half still. Conditions getting better here by the minute as the blue skies emerge and the blue jerseys on the attack once again. Advantage being played for UBC as that one was knocked down and forward by one of the Vikes defenders. Chisholm pleading for an obstruction call. And he's in there now making the tackle. A bit of a broken backfield there from the Vikes, now getting themselves in shape. As UBC poised to score once again. Referee Sarah Turner's arm goes up. Not rolling away was Williamson. And just 5 meters out, the Thunderbirds have earned this penalty. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They go straight for the scrum. And they'll attempt a pushover try here from 5 meters out. Great step there coming from the fly half Theo Sauter, and he saucers that one over to Ben Lesage. And it's a try for UBC, their third of the opening frame. And they are putting in a dominant performance here in the first half. Little chip shot attempt coming from Brock Stoller here. And that one's easily done. So that brings the score up to 19-3 now for UBC. And they are firmly in control. As mentioned off the top of our broadcast, UVic fell behind very quickly against the Ravens last Saturday in their quarterfinal match. And it was at about this time that they managed to right the ship, get their game back going in the right direction, and the situation now demands it for the UVic Vikes. They need to get the ball, they need to get points on the board, and right now it has been one-way traffic in favor of the UBC Thunderbirds, who will take this high ball under no pressure right on their own 22-meter line. And their offense goes back to work. A high looping pass from Sauter out to Brock Stoller. The ball's dropped forward though, and Stewart goes back to collect it for the Vikes. Some counterattack material for the Vikes. As being hit hard was Joe Ehrlich. He manages to stay on his feet momentarily. Scooping it up at the breakdown was Morgan Tate. UVic slowing things down now as their scrum half was in that last breakdown. Now Pitblado getting there. All his options are to the left. That ball passed a little bit low, and that forces John Lorimer to retreat about 6 meters from the gain line. The Vikes not pressing in the right direction quite yet. Big Liam Chisholm hitting a tackle there Chisholm was involved in Canada's program at the America's Rugby Championship, got in a couple of test caps for Canada. Big rangy second rower, listed at 6'6". Getting good experience here at the university level and hopefully more international rugby to come in his future. James Thompson given some space, and he is dangerous with the ball and finally dragged down by Casey Reed and into touch. That's the second or third time that we've seen the UBC ball carriers just get through that first line of defense and just really rip a hole into the Vikes defense. And it's quickly closed out, but it's chaos just for a minute as the Vikes scramble to try to deal with that speed that the UBC ball carriers have on the attack. Their backs, some of the best in Canada, and certainly one of the major reasons why no one has been able to knock off this UBC Thunderbirds side in the full last 12 months, with the exception of one team over in the UK, if I recall, was Trinity College in Dublin on their tour. But that's it. No losses in domestic competition and one round spell cup for them in that time. Callie Martinez coming into the game for the UBC Thunderbirds in the front row. You'll see him doing the lifting on that first pod there. As Chris Taylor may have come out, I'll take a look at the numbers and see who we're missing in the UBC front row, but that would be a big loss for the Thunderbirds, although Callie Martinez is certainly very capable in that front row himself. Lots more space once again for the UBC wingers to attack, and that one looped just out of the reach of Ben Lesage and forward as well. That pass from Brock Stoller, ambitious, not quite finding the correct angle into the hands of Lesage, who was poised to score his second try of the game. But once again, the Thunderbirds ball carriers, their backs are just throwing daggers into the UVic Vikes defense. Some very aggressive lines being run by them. So Chris Taylor's still in there for UBC. He's moved over into that tight head position. So it is Neil Courtney, by the look of it, who has come out for the Thunderbirds, the number 3, not in that pack right now. A kick will stay in field, presenting the UBC Thunderbirds with some options into the hands of Culkin right at midfield. Sandover Best using the boot, not a tool we've seen him go to very frequently, but nicely done there from Jordan Sandover Best, as that one bounces right at the perfect spot before heading into touch inside the 22. So the pressure stays on for the Thunderbirds, and the Vikes will start with this one deep in their own end once again as Casey Reed picks up the ball for the UVic Vikes. He'll be doing the throwing here on this lineout. They do have a good target man in Chisholm. They decide to go deep all the way to the back to Nathan Stewart instead. Stewart coming in as a late replacement for Ollie Knott, who was scratched right before the game on account of injury, unavailable. One of the choice weapons from the UVic Vikes in the backfield is Ollie Knott, unavailable for this game, and that will certainly hurt their chances. But it's up to the rest of his teammates to step up and try to fill that void. Unforced error there, as there was no immediate pressure on Connor Weil. The ball gets dropped, and it will be a scrum to UVic. Certainly some nerves in this game. They've been playing a lot of rugby in the last year, starting with that tour to the UK in September, and the BC Premier Division, the Mainland Cup happening from October all the way through December, and then into the Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League season here in the spring. About 20 games of rugby in that time, but none of those were quite at the level of this one. A semi-final game, an opportunity to go to that Roundspell Cup final happening April 30th. It will be held at either Clahany Park or McDonald Park, depending on which teams make it, and all that information will be posted to bcrugby.com. Full schedule of Saturday's club rugby finals as soon as we get results from around the province. Good family atmosphere here at the Gerald McGavin Rugby Pavilion. We got kids, elderly, dogs, and everyone in between. Everyone's out to watch a fantastic afternoon of rugby, and overall some pretty good quality on display. Not necessarily on that last sequence as the knock-on leads to another scrum. Neither team really able to gain the upper hand at the scrummages so far. But some big athletes, some savvy athletes in the front row and in those packs for both teams this afternoon. Coe looks off Culkin, and a bit of a miscommunication there. Sandover Best sweeps in there to try to clean up the mess. Brock Stoller checked that. Should have been Thompson picking up the ball, I believe. And no forward progress gained on that last sequence. All the way out to Neil Courtney, who is in the game wearing number 3. So just probably a blood sub injury as Callie Martinez takes his seat back on the bench, and Neil Courtney back out there on the field for UBC. That kick slashed into touch just inside the 22 once again, and how often have we said that in the game's opening 30 minutes where the ball is deep inside UVic territory. UBC playing a very territorial game. Kind of reminds me of that World Cup final between South Africa and England, where every opportunity the Springboks had, they just buried the ball deep into the England corner and really just didn't let them get anything started with ball in hand. Similar tactic, it would seem, on display here. A good charge down, and UBC able to keep the foot firmly on the throat, so to speak, of the UVic Vikes here in their own end. Of course, if there ever was to be a foot on throat, a very red cardable offense. And Sarah Turner doing a good job here in the middle, keeping discipline as our referee in this game. Flag is up, ball's in touch, taken quickly by the Thunderbirds, but not from where the ball exited, and some complaints coming from Brock Stoller, feeling that he had taken the quick line out cleanly and properly. Wind starting to pick up just a little bit here at UBC campus, but it certainly pushed all those clouds out of the way, and it's turning into a perfect afternoon for a rugby game. And it should be another splendid day 1 week from now at club finals. Theo Sauter smashes that one into touch. The young fly half has certainly put himself on the Canada radar, both the 15s and the 7s version of the game. Coming through St. George's High School, I believe, to the UBC Thunderbirds program a couple years ago. Driving the bus back there is Connor Hamilton. And inching their way closer to the line now are the Thunderbirds, trying to score their 4th try of the opening frame. And some obstruction coming as players, I believe, broke away from the front of that driving maul and were making contact with UVic defenders. And so referee Sarah Turner quick to put the arm up and award the penalty to UVic, who relieve some of that pressure by placing that penalty into touch outside the 22-meter line. Just over 30 minutes gone. I'm Brendan Monroe from BC Rugby. Hope you're enjoying our broadcast here today. Joined on the broadcast team by Caden Ward out of the Mariloma Rugby Club. And he's doing a great job, as always, bringing these live pictures to you. Vikes going up for the high ball there and working the set piece quite nicely from the backfield. As that was executed just the way it was drawn up. The ball brought all the way across the field from that original line-out spot, but the pass coming out of that breakdown is just a little bit low and slowing down the attack from the Vikes. Finally, some space found on the outside, as that was Ehrlich taking the ball forward now to Chisholm, and he is rebuffed with some intensity. Looped all the way over there to Stewart, whose pass does not find a hand, but is quickly pounced upon by Kevin Leask. Offload, a bit of a surprise there for Ehrlich, but he does well to respond. And now Williamson. This is positive stuff from the Vikes, but it is stripped in the tackle. And looping ball, causing some problems for Vataiki, and he is whipped into touch. Once again inside the 22. So the game plan continues to be for the Vikes. If you have it on halfway, use the boot, punch it into the corner. Just don't give the Vikes anything on offense, and the Thunderbirds really running that game plan to perfection so far. As the clock continues to tick towards halftime, the score remains 19 for UBC, only 3 for UVic. Alex Mascot will get things going for the Thunderbirds here, quickly into the hands of Captain Charlie Thorpe, and they're knocking on the door once again. Stern defense on their own line from the Vikes, however, deny the Thunderbirds on the first attempt. Culkin with the fend, with the second fend, and he's at the line. Is he held up? Culkin thinks he's in. His teammates think he's in. No signal yet from the referee, as Minar Culkin may have been held up in goal. Once again, the referee will confer with the touch judge as we wait for a signal, and a try is awarded for UBC's Minar Culkin. After a nice concerted effort from the Thunderbirds, it started on that deep line out, and a couple of phases later, they have earned themselves a 24-3 lead. I've been really impressed with the play of Kulkan in this game this afternoon. The winger is certainly built in the shape of maybe even an inside or outside center, but he has the sidestep that the position calls for out on the wing, and we saw it there on that last play, scoring the try for the Thunderbirds. Stoller's kick is good. UBC looking very confident right now with this 26-3 lead. This matchup, of course, a rematch of the teams involved in last year's Roundsville Cup final, the first time in anyone's recent memory where it was an all-university contest. And UBC are looking to book the return engagement once again, where they will hope to defend their title. They're in good shape right now with that 23-point lead and only 44 minutes left to go in this semifinal match. Ball knocked forward by Sandover Best. I believe advantage may have been played there. The Vikes able to come away with the ball. Pipleto chooses to chip it forward. And Ehrlich not able to outrace Coe to that ball. Ball well stolen there with the Jackal in the breakdown. And UVic are suddenly back on the attack. Chisholm looking for the offload. Good line being run by Morgan Tate, but the ball doesn't find him. And it's going to be picked off by the Thunderbirds. Williamson throwing his weight into that tackle. Cleanly held onto by Coe, who's got some space on that right side. One option to his left, which is Ben Lesage, and one more pass between the two finds its way ultimately into the hands of Ben Lesage for his second try of the opening half. And the UBC Thunderbirds, quick to exploit even the smallest of mistakes, have found their way into in goal once again, 31-3, still in that first frame, with a couple minutes left to go before halftime. Just like to take this moment to say hello to some of our rugby fans watching from all over the world. I know we have players from both teams who weren't able to be in the lineup today for various reasons. Harjan Gill and Luke Campbell are in New Zealand tuning in, so hello to both of them, and to parents of the players and fans of Canadian rugby all over the continent. Watching a clinical display from the UBC Thunderbirds as Brock Stoller adds 2 more points. Stoller has not exactly been given kicking duties by Rugby Canada just yet, but he's on their radar, has played a couple of test matches for them, coming on in relief in the centers and getting a start at fullback down in South America. So certainly one of the emerging players in the national team's development pipeline is Brock Stoller, and one of the better kickers here in the Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League is Stoller, and he has been good with the boot so far today, although in fairness, most of those attempts at goal have been from pretty makeable positions right in front of the uprights. As the Thunderbirds continue to pour tries in here in the first half. Not the start the UVic Vikes wanted. They've shown some good positive plays at times, but just small mistakes are being pounced on by the Thunderbirds. And the quality of the team is just not one that you can make even the slightest mistake against. Sandover best, forcing Stewart to range to his left, but doing a good job to take that one in the air was Crosby Stewart. Pass goes forward, advantage being played. Has some quick passes into the hands of Coe. Thought about going through his legs for just a second, thought better of it. And just having it bounce out of his hands was James Thompson, as he was eyeing a try of his own right there. And that's it for halftime, or the first half, I should say. The halftime whistle has sounded, and the score at the break, UBC Thunderbirds 33, the UVic Vikes 3, and we'll be back in just a couple moments for second half action.